Hey there, Steeler Nation. Flip Fisher, staff writer for BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. I'm going to bring you a little breakdown of our cap situation for 2020, and especially if we can keep Bud Dupree. Now, before we get into that, let me just say, give me a thumbs up at any time if you enjoy what I'm doing. Give me a thumbs down. Let me know that I'm not doing the job that you're wanting. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I do put up content here that does not hit Behind the Steel Curtain website like this. This will not. Also, be sure to smash that bell to get notified when I do put up this content. You don't know it's out there. How are you going to actually enjoy it? And let me know down in the comments section what you think. Do you want to actually keep Dupree? Should we? Or is he just a one-year wonder this year? All right, so let's dive right into this. We're sitting at over 198 million for next year already. Well, I'm projecting, and I think Jason and his bunch over there at overthecap.com are also projecting the cap going to be about 200 million. So this includes our carryover money, I believe, from last year. Well, I ignore the carryover money. That's meaningless. That's meaningless money. Because we're just going to turn around, we're going to carry over that money, and we're probably going to carry over even more than that for the next year. So I just ignore the carryover money. It doesn't exist. We're not going to spend it during the off season. The other thing that's already included in my figures is the dead money. Dante Moncrief, the bust that just keeps on giving. So shocked by that. Really was. Oh, okay. So we got our 200 million. We spent 198 million already. Oof. Well, we got rookies to pay for. Well, the Steelers have 7 rookies that they're going to put under contract. And I'm not going to say all 7 of them are going to make the team. But we're going to include all 7 of them for right now. So what are our options with Dupree? Well, we can sign him to a contract. But that gets quirky. The problem is this is the last year of the collective bargaining agreement between the NFL and the Players Union. Well, the CBA has some really interesting quirks to it, being the last year. A player who signs a contract in the offseason between 2019 and 2020, they can only make 30% more between 2020 and 2021. Then they're only going to be able to make 30% more between 2021 or 2020 and 2021, and same applies for 2000 for the next following year. I hope that's not too confusing. So if Bud Dupree makes 10 million in 2020, he can't make more than 13 million in 2021. He can't make more than 16 million in 2022. In 2023, he can't make more than 19 million. Well, that puts some constraints, because we can't sign him to a cap-friendly deal in 2020. We can't sign him to a $5 million deal and then give him $10 million the next year. And I'm talking cap hits, not talking real money. So it's going to have to be a big contract next year. And that's going to be problematic. And I don't expect that to actually change. I don't think that's going to get kicked out of the CBA. I don't think it's going to change. It could, but I don't think so. Another quirk is likely to be earned bonuses and not likely to be earned bonuses. All are going to count against the cap. Well, not a big deal for us because we don't use them. But another big thing that comes into play is the June 1st cuts, where you could spread out a player's contract over 2 years. That's not in play. So if we were to cut, and I'll get into this a little bit. So if we were to actually cut Mark Barron, we can't spread this $2.88 million dead money. Well, actually, he's under contract for next. But let's say Joe Hayden. We can't spread that $11.2 million over 2 seasons, 2 remaining seasons. Can't do that. We have to eat that whole 11 point. Okay, so there's some of the fundamentals, and there's the issue with the quirks in the CBA that are working against us signing Bud Dupree. We're right up against the wall with the cap. We're $5 million over. We got to clear up that $5 million before March 1st, or sorry, about March 13th. I think that is the new league year. Now, we're going to look at players where we can save some money. So I threw some players out there that can save us some money. Joe Hayden, very unlikely. You know, I've been against Joe Hayden's contracts since the very get-go. I think he's very expensive for the production we get out of it. When you're paying a top 10 cornerback, or paying a cornerback top 10 money, and he's not worth it, I consider that being underwater. Mark Barron, another player I was against signing, definitely will not see his 2020 salary. And this is all in millions of dollars. So it's not like we're saving $140 with Joe Hayden. Anthony Chickalo, core special teamer. People did not like his $2 million salary this year, and they're definitely not going to like his $6.1 million. He will not see that $5 million for a base salary. Ramon Foster, showing his age and issues this year. I don't believe he'll see his $4 million. Roosevelt Nix is more of a luxury. A guy who really he's a special teamer. Is he a core special teamer? Well, not really. Very limited on offense. People want to see him blocking more. I don't, because he's really not that special of a blocker. Big Dan McCullers. People have been trying to get rid of him for years. But, you know, if we move on from him, saves us $1.5 million. I think he's also kind of a luxury we might not be able to handle. Ryan Switzer, and I'm going to point out to some other guys that fall around Ryan Switzer that we will probably move on from. $700,000 for a guy that really is not a very good special teamer. Adds nothing to the offense. Paxton Lynch, I believe, will be gone as well. You know, we're not going to carry 4 quarterbacks. And I don't think he's beating out either of the 2. So we're going to, and Trey Edwards. So we're going to save a bit of money. with some of these guys being gone. But you got to remember, for every guy that you cut off the team, you're going to have displacement. So you're going to have another guy take his spot. Well, the base salary is going to be a bit over $5 million. So I have the displacement at $3.5 million. I have 7 guys there. Now I threw in Hayden just to kind of maybe just to bash on him a little bit, but just to show you that we can save some money from him if we chose to. So we could save almost $19 million by making those cuts. We were $5 million over the cap. That puts us around $14 million. Take off the $3.5 million for the displacement. We're at $10.4 million under the cap. Well, we got to account for restricted free agents. That's where this comes into play. The first round tenders, very expensive. Second round, still pretty expensive, almost $3.3 million. Original round tenders, $2.1 million. What would I expect between Filer and Hilton? Well, I do expect Filer to at least get that second round tender. Filer's been our best offensive lineman this year. And I'm going to say he's been better than DeCastro. Might take some heat for that, but he's been very, very consistent, both run blocking and pass blocking. Hilton has been up and down. He's looked so good at times and looked really bad at times. I do expect the original round tender probably of $2.1 million. I don't know if another team will come sniffing around and try to snag him from us. Wouldn't shock me too much. He was a player pulled off the scrap heap. But that drops our cap with those 2 players down to $5 million. Now, because we're adding those 2 players are going to fall off the roster, off the count. And I do need to point out one thing. I do absolutely ignore the top 51 in the offseason. It's pointless. There's no point in just looking at the top 51 players. Because by the time the season rolls around, you have to account for the top 53 players. So it's nonsensical to me to just look at the top 51. The exclusive rights free agents, I would not be surprised if they kept 3 of these guys. I don't know so much about Patrick Morris. If they'll keep them, these guys will be dirt cheap and might not even count against the top 53. If they are, it would just be a few $100,000, nothing significant. So now we got 53 players under contract. Well, I'm gonna keep Joe Hayden. So I am actually going to add about $1 million back from his salary. I don't think we can realistically move on from him. Well, where can we milk some money out? Now, I don't believe the 30% rule applies to the restructures. I'm not positive, though. So these numbers, I put these numbers together with the 30% in mind. I don't know if that's correct. So we could actually milk out some more money off this if I'm wrong on the thinking there. I sent a question to Jason at OTC, and I have not heard back. But this at least gives us a start. So if that 30% rule is in play on restructures, then I'm okay here. If it's not, then we can actually milk out more restructures. So stuff onto it, we would actually restructure $4.8 million off his deal, and that would be prorated off of the next 3 seasons, and we would save $3.2 million. But cap hit in 2021 would raise to 17. We're kicking the can down the road here. DeCastro, okay savings, $3.9 million. Hayden, don't want to do that. I'll tell you right now, I don't want to restructure Hayden. $3 million. That would bump his cap hit in 2021 to $15.6 million, and just add more dead money if he has another year like he's having this year. I think he's worth it. Pouncey, we save almost $2 million. Same with Nelson. Nelson, I absolutely would be fine with that. He was definitely the unsung hero of the Steelers defense this year. Vince McDonald, we could shed off $2 million. Vince Williams, another player I was very against getting a contract, we could save $1.5 million letting him go. Or restructuring, sorry. He's absolutely not going anywhere because there's way too much dead money in his contract. But that would bump his 2021 to $8.5 million. So doing this, we could milk out $17.28 million. Well, that actually puts us in some good room there. So we're sitting at, over $22 million. You look at some of these contracts, and here's to it. Gets a little expensive, and like I said, $17 million in 2021. Castro, it was really ripe to kick out money. Now, if that 30% rule does not apply, we could easily kick out $7.75 million and split that in half. Cam Hayward. Now, this is going to be an interesting thing because here's a player that absolutely needs a new contract. But, we're sitting there with, he's already sitting at $13 million for next year. We could bring that down. We could give him $10 million next year. Cut that cap by $3 million. Do that. But is he willing to do that? And then take $13 million in 2021, and then $16 million in 2022, like that. Willing to do that. So there is cap savings depending on what kind of a contract we Hayward as well. We have wiggle room there, Hayward. There's the Joe Hayden. So adding the $3 million absolutely jacks his contract up to 15.6. And the worst part is you would add more dead money to that if we move on from Hayden. We could restructure him, you betcha, but it's going to be very costly in 2021. Here's Pouncey as well. Steven Nelson was, very cheap for his play. Alejandro Villanueva is another player we could put under contract. I don't know how much we could do for that. AV has struggled at times. I don't know. He's 32 years old. Would we be looking to extend him? Let me know. Let me know if we should. Let me know in the comments. Should we extend him? That's a tough call. Vance McDonald. well, he had all of his bonus money stripped out of his contract when we traded for him, and we did a restructure. We've been pretty smart with his. But there it is. Can we afford Bud? We can. We definitely can. It's going to be interesting to see. This is where I give, I might enjoy playing Steelers GM and taking over Kevin Colbert's job. I love doing that. It's fun. But I don't envy the task that he's got coming up. It's going to be very interesting on what he does to get us out of the cap purgatory that we're in right now. Because we are in cap purgatory. When we're $5 million over the cap, that's some big issues. That's got to be cleared up by the second week in March, when the new league year starts. Do I think Bud Dupree is worth it? Well, we have a big option for him. We could franchise tag him, which isn't ideal. I'll be the first one to say that. Almost $16.3 million on the franchise tag. $14 million on the transition tag, which I think the transition tag is foolish, because we would get no compensation for it if another team offered him a contract we couldn't take on. $16.2 million. I think the franchise tag right now is on the table. Say that right now. I'm going to go out on a limb and actually say that. We do have the cap space, but we also have veterans to sign. We're going to have holes. Javon Hargrave is gone. Absolutely gone. I think he's a luxury right now for thinking next year. I like Hargrave. I really do. But I think he's going to go to another team, and I think he's going to make some serious cash. I would seriously put his departure at 100%. Right now, I would say Dupree staying with us, I would say he's 50-50. Could we get him under a contract, 5 years, $75 million? Well, that kind of depends on the guaranteed money you're going to want. You're going to want the guaranteed money of Khalil Mack and Von Miller? Or is he going to take a friendly contract like a couple of the guys up in Green Bay just took? I don't know. I definitely don't know the answer to that. And will Kevin Colbert finally break down and give out contracts with more guaranteed years like he does with Big Ben, but refuses to with any other player? Is that going to happen finally with Dupree? He's valuable. How much is he going to want a year? Is he going to want $16 million a year? Is he going to want $12 million a year? We slap that franchise tag on him, $16 million. That's probably our negotiating point from then on. So there it is. Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Are we going to be able to afford to keep him? Should we even keep him? Should we try to sign him to a contract? Should the franchise tag even be on the table? That's what happened with Bell. Didn't work out so well with us, did it? All right. Well, hopefully I didn't get all too complicated there and didn't lose you all. If you have any questions, feel free. Ask in the comment section. But hopefully y'all gave me a thumbs up. Hopefully there'll be, 400 thumbs up come Monday after the Steelers beat the Browns tomorrow. Later today. Be Be sure to subscribe. Like I said, this video is not going to hit BTSC. And of course, ring that bell to get notified. I put up new content. All right. Thanks, all. I appreciate you catching my video. Be on the lookout next week for when I put up a couple of videos on how Devlin Duck Hodges does against the Cleveland Browns. / later today. All right. Take care, Steeler Nation. Laters.